Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at local news, state news, countrywide news, things that have to do with Puerto Vallarta, things that have to do with Mexico's lifestyle, culture, traditions, everything and anything we can get our hands on so that we can have an amazing life living here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Yes, we are a broadcast for locals. Yesterday, once again, this whole topic of locals and tourists came up in conversation. And of course, we welcome tourists. We welcome anyone here. But ultimately, those that are going to find most use out of whatever goes on here at Coffee and Headlines are those of you who either live here or those of you whose sensibility as travelers through the world includes getting acquainted with local customs and traditions, getting acquainted with how people actually live or think or feel or go about their daily routines in whatever place you happen to be. In our case, of course, this is Puerto Vallarta. So if the shoe fits, you are more than welcome to join us. And if this is your first time here, my name is Paco, and we welcome all kinds of newcomers. You can let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comments, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If you have something important that you wish to share or point out during the broadcast, it helps a great deal if you add the letter Q at the beginning of your question or comment. And of course, my throat is everywhere. Of course, we have to follow up with yesterday's news of that landslide in Colonia Amapas. There's a lot to dissect there. The city has made a statement, and it's not going to be pretty, at least not for a few people. We also have news about vaccination campaigns, both here and also in Banderas Bay. So if you are looking for vaccines, we are going to have some headlines for you. We have news about Mayor-elect Luis Michel. We have news about a comic book hero who came out of the closet. And we also want to talk about a few tips on how to get along with the show notes that we produce on a daily basis. So without further ado, let us dive into the news. Then we'll continue with our weather, and then we will be so very happy to read some of your comments out loud just to see what everybody is up to. So let's dive in. Well, let's start, of course, with the landslide. In less than 24 hours, Puerto Vallarta City Hall has released a statement regarding the Amapas landslide that took place 2 days ago. Their preliminary report indicates that the landslide took place because the ground softened as a result of the recent rains, and also the fact that the work begun by the construction company had destabilized the ground. The landslide not only took Santa Barbara Street with it, but it also resulted in vertical cracks with more than 5 centimeters of separation in the foundation of property number 431. I assume this would be the home directly behind the street. And preliminary inspections also revealed that there was damage to electrical lines, plumbing, clean water, and telephone lines. As a preventive measure, authorities evacuated 20 people from surrounding properties and placed a security perimeter on both sides of the street with a permanent guard in order to restrict access to vehicles and curious pedestrians. It is not safe out there. The construction of the proposed new building called Serena has been permanently shut down to restrict workers from entering the property. We think this might also be a good time for you to request your down payment back if you went there. City Hall will contact the construction company so that they can begin elaborating a project in which they will outline how they intend to repair the public and private property damaged during the incident. The statement also mentions the fact that back on March 23rd of this year, they had already emitted specific recommendations to the construction company due to the potential danger of a landslide. Evidently, the construction company involved in the project did not do enough or anything, or just enough soon enough. Last but not least, both the municipality of Puerto Vallarta and also Seapal Vallarta, our local waterworks, are preparing legal actions against whoever ends up responsible for this situation. In actually a little bit of commentary, needless to say, since this happened, there's been a lot of conversations going on among the schools of architects and different associations that govern the viability of permits emitted to real estate construction companies all over the Bay as to whether they should be emitted or not, and whether the proper studies are being made, the land studies, so that people can actually have a good determination as to whether buildings should or can be built or not. Something that we know for sure has not been guarded very vigilantly here in Puerto Vallarta. Moving right along, Puerto Vallarta Mayor-elect Luis Michel and Bahía de Banderas Mayor-elect Mirta Villalbazo have joined the Municipal Health Board in order to allow for a more direct understanding of the challenges both municipalities face today in matters related to COVID-19 and the preventive measures being taken. Also, because both recently elected mayors see the importance of taking both municipalities into account when it comes to those measures, despite the fact that both municipalities are legislated by two separate states. Mirta Villalbazo assumes her position as new mayor of Bahía de Banderas on September 17, while Luis Michel takes over as Puerto Vallarta's new mayor on September 30th. That would be in about a month and a half. We also have important announcements regarding vaccination campaigns, two of them. The first one is that the second AstraZeneca dose for folks in their 50s living in Bahía de Banderas, just north of Puerto Vallarta, is available as of today and continuing through Saturday. Information regarding the specific locations where you can obtain your second shot if you are in your 50s living in Bahía de Banderas is available in this article. And also, if you are in your 50s living here in Puerto Vallarta, as you know, we had our second shot last week. But if somehow you missed the boat, health authorities have announced that they are presently applying second doses in El Tuito, which is the head of the municipality south of Puerto Vallarta called Cabo Corrientes. This is 1 hour south of Puerto Vallarta. And given the fact that they're having such a low response to the campaign among local residents in El Tuito, authorities are encouraging Puerto Vallarta folk to travel to El Tuito in groups of 10 if possible to get their second shot there. The vaccination campaign in El Tuito continues until tomorrow, so you would only have today or tomorrow to get this done. Why they're hoping to have groups of 10 as a minimum is a mystery to me, but I assume that one of the reasons why they want to do this is just to make sure that if you show up on your own and you say, I'm here from Puerto Vallarta, you don't get turned down. So this is one of those instances in which you read something and it is entirely possible that you get there and you don't get what you were hoping for. So I'm sorry, the information is a little sketchy, but this is what we saw on the headline. Needless to say, if I was in my 50s and I had missed my second shot, I would take this recommendation seriously. The city of El Tuito is only 20 minutes past the Botanical Gardens, so if you've been there, then you know what we're talking about. Moving right along, once again, the neighbor state of Nayarit topped their own record of daily new COVID-19 cases, with 366 new cases reported just 2 days ago. That is higher than the previous record. And of course, as this is happening, many hotels in the southern part of the state are reporting cancellations to the tune of 80% cancellations due to the fact that tourists are simply not wanting to take chances given the numbers that are currently taking place in the state of Nayarit. And back here in Puerto Vallarta, the Guadalajara University local campus, or Centro Universitario de la Costa, or CUC, has reopened their COVID-19 testing site as of this coming Monday. The site had closed 2 months ago due to lack of demand, but given the recent increase in COVID cases in our city, they will now be offering again free COVID tests, but only on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Folks looking to get tested for free can call a telephone number, which is listed in this article, to answer a few eligibility questions and to schedule the test. And this is what we have for news. Let us turn over to the weather just to see what we can expect in this second half of the week, and we'll continue with a couple of other announcements. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 Jeopardy hosts. Well, I don't watch Jeopardy, but I did catch some headlines at the corner of my eye to that effect. But what do you know? I'm not a Jeopardy watcher, so I can't comment on that. This seems to be important to Carrot Weather. What's important to me is that we are at 27 degrees Celsius right now. It feels like 31. Humidity is at 87%. And if you are a Fahrenheit kind of person, we are now enjoying 81 degrees Fahrenheit. In our weather forecast, calls for possible light rain this evening with a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 24. Tomorrow, Friday, possible light rain in the evening and overnight with a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 24. And on Saturday, we are going to have rain in the evening and overnight with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 23. May we get a little bit of rain here, and may rain also go places where it's mostly needed. I caught a couple of comments about lack of rain as we were starting the broadcast. Yesterday, one of you got in touch with me privately and asked a question that I think the answer should be helpful to some people. So I answer privately, but then I also want to answer publicly, having to do with the fact that, of course, we share show notes with articles that are obviously written in Spanish for the most part, because Spanish is the official language here in Mexico. And Ronnie is asking, well, how can we view them in English? And I answer to her, and I know that this is possible at least using Google Chrome as your web browser. There is an extension that you can install that allows you to automatically translate articles using Google Translator. You don't have to copy and paste the text. You don't have to do anything. There's a button that shows up at the top of your browser. I don't do this on a regular basis because I'm not looking for articles in languages that I don't understand for the most part. But I do know that there are ways in which this can be done. So, excuse me, what I would do is I would Google Google Translator extension or something to that effect and have it installed in your browser. That way, if you are curious to read some of the news items that we share, you can do that. And of course, the question, obviously, some people may be wondering, well, why, Paco, are you sharing articles in Spanish when we are an English broadcast and we speak English? Well, that may seem counterproductive, but one of the reasons, actually, the main reason why we share the articles in Spanish is credibility. We want to make sure that you always know that the information that we share with you comes from credible sources, or at least as credible as they get. Now, I have one last and totally unrelated headline to share with you, and this has to do with Robin. Robin, as it turns out, is bisexual. Holy bat nipples, Batman. Robin, who had been canonically heterosexual through 81 years of comic books, TV series, and movies, and was even paired with many a female love interest, but never with Batman himself, is now out of the closet in a new anthology series published by DC Comics. Robin is crushing on an old friend who was captured by the bad guy, and at the end of the first issue, we can see that Robin goes and checks out on his friend to make sure that he's okay. And the friend asks him out on a date, and Robin says, yeah, I think I want that. Well, I don't know if the world is a better place or not because Robin is bisexual, but I just thought I would share that with you. Why? Why not? Let's take a look at your comments and see what everybody is up to on this beautiful day. Let's see. Albert says, hopefully this will be a great Thursday with rain for the people who need it. That's the one comment that I read before. I hope you get the rain you're looking for wherever you are, Albert. Oh my gosh, Joe Incorvati is watching from Milan in Italy. That's wonderful, Joe. Thank you for joining us today. Let's see what else we have. Lots of good mornings, and these are always much appreciated. John Baker, I love that photograph of you because you have such a great smile, but that's just me. I'm not coming on to you. I just like the smile and the face. Let's see what else. My sister is here. Hola, hermanita. Mwah. I know that you sent me a little message earlier about the landslide. We are doing good. Let's see what else we have. My sister, I love it. I love it when we started using "tómala," because that's what I think. That's a perfect expression for that. The actions that the city is going to take against that construction company. "Tómala." What will happen? Who knows? I mean, if you look at the photographs, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. Look at the photographs. I mean, just simply the process of rebuilding that street with nothing under it, that can't be easy. How and when the people that are deemed responsible for that failure are going to repair the damage that was done, I think this is going to be one of those news items that we're going to be reading for quite some time. That is why I would never buy pre-construction. I feel horrible for the existing properties now affected. Of course, absolutely. Yes, Dave. This is precisely what we're talking about. I don't think that this is going to be repaired anytime soon. What up with those folks in El Tuito? Well, Dave, there was a headline that I chose not to bring up today, but apparently the headline says that, and we touched, okay, Paco, begin. Get your ideas together. A few days ago, we reported that it was that the state of Jalisco is one of the states where the least number of vaccines have been applied. At the time, we reported this because our governor Alfaro, was in Mexico City asking for more vaccines for the young people, for younger generations. And our governor got what he wanted after meeting with our president. And but now, again, I saw another headline yesterday saying something to the effect of the fact that Jalisco is like state number 27 when it comes to vaccinations, meaning that 26 other states have had more vaccines applied in their states. But now I am intrigued because I am not entirely sure, because the article did not specify, whether this is because Jalisco is not receiving enough vaccines, or we happen to be a really wimpy state full of people that are choosing not to get vaccinated, or the news are not getting to people on time. So I don't have an answer for that yet. I'm going to keep researching. So bottom line, what's up with those folks in El Tuito? I couldn't tell you, Dave. I'm always startled when I hear that there are X number of vaccines made available and only half a dozen people show up. But if you're in Puerto Vallarta and you want to get your second shot and you're in your 50s, Tuito is not far from here. Let's see what else we see. Oh my goodness, Raymond is back in the city.
El panadero con el pan, el panadero con el pan.
Raymond, welcome back to Puerto Vallarta. I hope this means good news, and I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that the world around you is as beautiful as you should have. Let's see what else we have. Okay, I understand. Charlotte says there are either 5 or 10 doses per vial, depending on the vaccine, so vaccination centers don't want to have to open a vial that may go off if not used within a 4 to 5 hour time frame. That makes perfect sense, Charlotte. I had no idea, so thank you very much for that clarification. That's useful information. I love it. Let's see what else. Oh, and somebody else wrote something to that effect as well. Fascinating. Okay, so we are at the end of what I have prepared for you. I wonder if there's any other comments, thoughts, suggestions, anybody that wishes to share something. Yesterday, we saw a bunch of new people joining the broadcast, and I was very happy about that. This is what we do. We try to connect. We try to bring good news, and important news to everyone. In the next few days, we're going to be looking at that Tenochtitlan, at that monument that has been installed in Mexico City. It is beautiful, and I've seen some rehearsals of the light show they're going to make available for people to enjoy, and it looks absolutely fascinating. So I think this is coming up tomorrow or sometime this week. They're going to inaugurate that installation. So that's what we have. I don't see any more questions. I don't see any more comments sliding in. So as always, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. I want to thank you for your interest in what's going on in our city, in our surroundings. I want to thank you for all your questions and your comments that keep us in our toes, on our toes. Keep us ready to do as much research as we can and provide content that is useful to you. So that's the end of the broadcast. I think, yes, no more new comments. So thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow, Friday, and if not tomorrow, sometime in the very near future. I hope you have a truly, truly awesome day. Have a good one.